Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Ginny Barrow. When I arrived in this country back in 1983, there was a tiny little problem that I had. I didn't speak English. I couldn't communicate. I couldn't connect with my peers in high school. I was 14 years old. I had just arrived in June from the Dominican Republic, and it was September when I was starting my freshman year of high school. And building my confidence and overcoming imposter syndrome was alive and well with me back then. I want to speak to you today because the topic of building confidence and overcoming imposter syndrome is one that remains relevant for so many of us talented, high performing, high achieving women and leaders in the corporate world. And my mission at Executive Bound is to support those women, the leaders who have felt underestimated, who felt like we've had to claw our way to where we are today, who want to have a seat at the table because we have valuable insights to share and to contribute, and who want to create a fulfilling career and life without burning out, without being in the hamster wheel. If that's you, this training is for you. Overcoming the self doubt that breaks and diminishes our confidence and the imposter syndrome that keeps us in this mindset of, I don't belong here. What am I doing here? Must be squashed for us to continue to grow and advance and to achieve what we truly want in our minds, in our hearts, and in our spirits, which is, in my personal case, to have a great impact, to contribute to the best of my ability, to be in service, and even to be in love with service of my clients, of my life, of my son, of my family, and that's what creates for me a fulfilling life. So if this is you, let's talk about what's eroding your confidence, what's creating and generating this sense of imposter syndrome. So there's going to be a few strategies that I'm going to share with you today about how to tackle this monster and slay it for good. And I may not be explaining exactly the how because that's exactly what I do with my clients. We dive into how to do these strategies. But I want to share the strategies with you so that you have the cognitive understanding of what they are, and then we can get a little bit closer to addressing them by doing the work that is required to develop professionally and personally and implement these strategies. Strategy number one is to recognize and address the imposter syndrome. When we recognize that we are in this space of what am I doing in this room? I have nothing to contribute, or I'm in a meeting and I don't open my mouth because I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to say something that may make me look like I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want people to think less of me. Therefore, I'm going to stay quiet. When we take that approach, the fear of what you are trying to avoid is exactly what happens. When we walk into a meeting and we don't say anything, people around us think Ginny is not adding any value. And so the fear that we have gets realized by us not communicating, not looking at the group of people in the room as your peers, and like you, they have ideas, and yet they're expressing them and you are not. So when you recognize and you are truthful with yourself that I'm dealing with imposter syndrome, that I don't feel like I am blank enough, smart enough, technical enough, strategic enough, whatever the enoughness may be, when you recognize it, now we have a fertile ground to begin to dive deeper into what is creating the imposter syndrome, what is causing us, what fears and what challenges and boulders are getting in the way of us showing up with confidence and expressing what we need to express from a place of contribution, not a place of tooting your own horn or patting yourself in the back, which for many of us doesn't feel great. So, recognizing and addressing the imposter syndrome is going to pay dividends for you, especially if you are toward the beginning or mid level of your career. And always, no matter where you are in the spectrum of your career longevity and seniority, at any point, it's going to serve you. The second strategy that I'm going to give you today to address building confidence and overcoming imposter syndrome is developing self belief and confidence. How do we do that? Well, I said I was not going to get into the how, but I want to explain what I mean by developing self belief and confidence. One of the things we do in Executive Bound, especially in the Fearless Leadership Mastermind program, that is a 6-month program to develop talented women like you, is to hone in on self belief and to develop confidence. And the way we do it is by helping you get crystal clear on what is your unique value proposition, your UVP. When you understand your UVP, you are clear on how your background, your education, your years of experience combined with the reason why you do what you do and how you do what you do, when those things combine, you realize that you are uniquely positioned to do what you are doing from your perspective, differently than someone else who may have the same title as you, and that your superpowers are uniquely yours in combination with you as a person, as a leader, as an employee, as a teammate, as a colleague, as a mentor, as a sponsor. And when you recognize this, you build self belief and confidence in yourself. The other way in which we build these traits is that we take action, but it's difficult to take action when you have a fixed mindset and you fear that if the action you are taking doesn't get you to the results that you want, that you are a failure. If you have a fixed mindset that says my results are equivalent to my worth, you're done. But if you develop a growth mindset that says, my results indicate that I took specific action that happened to take me to the right place or not, and that if it's the wrong place, that I'm going to tweak and try again, that's a growth mindset. You detached your value from your outcomes. And when we do that, we take more risks. And as a result, we share more ideas. And as a result, we are more innovative and we end up adding more value to the environments that we are in. We raise our hands more often. We take a chance and share a thought that we had that's relevant to the problem that we are addressing. And you become a true thought leader. And that's what our companies need today. They need people who are executing, but they also need people who are strategic thinkers who can get us to the next level as an organization. And you can do that when you begin to trust yourself, develop that self belief and the confidence to speak up and share your ideas. And the third strategy that I'm going to share today is to overcome the self doubt. The self doubt is this constant nagging negative self talk that makes you question everything you do, that makes you kick yourself multiple times throughout the day, that makes you ruminate over a conversation you had and how you wish it had gone differently, which all combined reduces your ability to be creative and resourceful and curious, and it keeps you locked into yourself. It keeps you in this analysis paralysis mode. It keeps you so focused on yourself that you're not truly showing up in your role and for your team and for others. It keeps you only focused on Ginny, on being all about you. And how helpful is that for your team when you're only focused on you and how you're performing and how you're doing and managing your emotions all the time? That's not going to make you the best leader for others. And so strategies for overcoming self-doubt are so important. And there's so many different ways in which we can do this. And this is what we teach you when you work with us at the Fearless Leadership Mastermind, when you coach with us privately, which are very few slots these days because I want to have the biggest impact that I can. So I am cherry picking the clients that I work with so that they get the most value. I get the most value from working with them because they're my ideal client. And at the end of the day, everybody wins. So, strategies for overcoming self doubt are essential for you to focus on. The last two that I want to mention are these two: embracing your unique strengths and talents. When you embrace your unique strengths and talents, the number one thing that happens is that it also boosts your confidence. It also helps you promote your personal brands because now, since you understand what they are, you can speak to them and people can recognize that that's exactly what your wheelhouse is. And they can come to you whenever they have a need or a problem that needs your unique strengths and talents. That's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is that you recognize that others also have unique strengths and talents. And it forces you to be curious, to understand your team's uniqueness, their superpowers, and to then help take it out of them. Because once you observe it and you see it, you can call it out for them. You can name it for them. And they may not even recognize them because usually, you included, when we do something and it's one of our superpowers, we believe everybody else can do it too. And as a result, we don't value it. When you call it out for your team, you're helping them see it in a way that they may not see it themselves. So you become a multiplier for them. You become a mirror, and that creates many good outcomes. One of which is you begin to meet the needs of your team. And when people feel understood, heard, even loved at work, they show up differently. People begin to trust you much more. And as a result, they deliver for you, they're high performing, and they show up. All right. So that's the last one of the last strategies. And the very last strategy that I want to share with you about building confidence and overcoming imposter syndrome is building a support network. If you are questioning, if you have doubts, if you want a sounding board to support you in an idea that you have, if you don't know how to approach a situation, if you need to have a difficult conversation with your manager or a team member, it's incredibly important to have a support network. People you trust, people you can go to, close the door, people you can call, people you can Zoom with, and have a conversation about the problem that you're having. If we don't have that, it's so difficult to then move forward with confidence. It's so difficult to overcome imposter syndrome. And building the support network, those of you who have heard me speak in different venues know that this is something that I speak about. I am super passionate about it. And it's something that I've been doing for over 30 years in the business world since graduating from college in 1991. And it's something that I continue to do every single day. When I was in my corporate roles, now that I am running my own business, is something I continually do. Because if I'm sitting behind this square box called a PC and I don't reach out to colleagues, to other entrepreneurs, to friends, to people in my life who support me, my coaches, my mentors, If I don't do that, I'm going to feel isolated. I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to feel like I am pulling all this weight all by myself. And I know most of you are running busy lives. You have busy schedules. You have plates that are overflowing with responsibilities. And I also know that you want to continue to advance in your career, to earn more money, to bring more joy to your life, to give your family a better future. That's what all of us and many of us want. And so, how do we do that? We do it by owning our career, by owning where we are right now, by taking responsibility and being accountable for what we do going forward. And as I share these different topics that are really relevant to women like us and leaders like us, if this resonates with you, leave me a comment. Let me know what from what I shared today resonates with you. And let's continue to build confidence and overcome this imposter syndrome that is sabotaging the compelling future that we can create for ourselves and stop wasting time. I don't know about you, but I don't have 15 years to figure all of this out on my own. I want to figure it out ASAP so that I can do something about it and gain the benefits, gain the return on investment of my time, my finances, my energy. I want to be able to use all of these strategies that I mentioned and apply them as soon as possible. So if that's you and you are also someone who wants to accelerate getting the results that you need to navigate those situations that you're facing, to build the relationships, to understand your unique value, then let's connect. I'm always at callwithginny.com, and I will continue to share these topics that will make a significant difference in transforming your life and your career so you can reach your full potential as a woman and as a leader. I look forward to connecting with you. Live with purpose, live with joy.